Welcome back. You ready to do a fantastic painting with me? Well, last week I promised us that we would do the painting that you see animated at the beginning of each show. So I've taken the liberty of going ahead and covering the canvas with paint. We're using a black canvas today. It has been painted with a flat black acrylic and allowed to dry completely. On top of that, I have one area right here of alizarin crimson, and over in here I just put a little bit of crimson somewhere just so we'll have a little bit of pinkish color in the sky. The rest of the canvas is covered with a mixture of about equal parts of phthalo green and alizarin crimson. It makes a very beautiful gray color. So that's what we have the canvas covered with. Don't allow this to dry now before you start. You want this wet. Okay, let's start with a 1-inch brush, and we'll go right into a little bit of cad yellow and load quite a bit of paint on the brush here. And we're going to start out by making the little glow that you see in the sky, which ends up being the glow around the lighthouse. So go right up in here wherever you want the little glow to be, and start making little X's, just very gently, and work around in a circle, like so. You want it to get darker and darker and darker as it goes out from the center. There we go. There. Now, you can make this as bright as you want it. All you need to do is clean the brush each time. You never want to go back into the center area with a dirty brush. So I'll go back into the cad yellow, and we can go right back in here and add a little bit more of the yellow. Make it as bright as you want it. One thing I'd suggest when you're doing these at home, you might make this a little bit brighter when you paint it than you want it to be when it's dry. As it dries, it's going to lose a little bit of the brightness, so make it a tiny bit brighter than you really want it to be. All right. Now, we can take the large brush and still making the little crisscross strokes, very gently blend this out. Leave a nice spot of yellow right here in the center, and that's where we'll put the lighthouse. There we go. Just blend it out. And then very gently we can just hypnotize that, just to put a little glow in the sky. Okay. Now, let me clean the old brush, shake it off, and redecorate the studio. Now let's take a little bit of white. This is just titanium white, and there's going to be a moon in this painting. So let's go right up in here and put a little black background color in. And we're just making little X's, little crisscross strokes. There. Don't want it to get too bright, just enough so it stands out a little bit. Okay, now we can take the large brush and very gently blend that together. And take out the brush strokes. Okay. Now we can start having some fun. We'll get this brush cleaned up. Let's do a little finger painting here. I'll just take my finger, and let's say the moon is right there. Just take titanium white on your finger and just make a little circle up here in the sky. There. Isn't that easy? Now with a large brush, very gently, 3 hairs and some air, we just very lightly go across it. We don't want to destroy it. By now there's 3 layers of paint there, so be very gentle. Now let's take the fan brush and go right into a little bit of white. And all we need is a small amount on the brush for this. Color stands out so strong. And we'll just go right up in here and begin putting in some happy little cloud shapes. Now this will not be an exact duplicate of what you see at the beginning of the show, because it's almost impossible to make an exact duplicate. Just want to show you how that one was made. And at home you can just make all kinds of beautiful little things. These black canvases really are fantastic. There, just some very basic little shapes. And maybe right here, there's a happy little cloud that just sort of floats around. Here I'm using just the corner of the fan brush. Just let it drop right through there, maybe. Just the corner of the brush. Maybe there's a little little stringy cloud right there. Wherever you want them, that's where they ought to be. Okay, now let's take the large brush. Be sure it's good and dry. And I'm going to very gently blend the bottom of this cloud out, just like when we're making clouds on white canvas. There we go. And then we'll fluff it a little bit, very gentle. And then just brush everything out. Isn't that something? You'd never believe a sky could be made that easy. That went so well. Let's drop another happy little cloud right in here. We'll just let him work right around. Now here it's beginning to pick up a little bit of that crimson color that I put in. So it'll be a little bit different color. Just give us some variation so they're not all exactly the same color. And we'll just let this one float on and on wherever it wants to go. Blend the bottom of it out. Just using the corner of the brush. There. And we can fluff it up. And then gently, gently blend it. Okay, now, maybe we'll just get crazy and put a few little stringy clouds in here. Little skinny clouds. And you just put them in like so, wherever you want them. Maybe there's another little one that lives right there. Maybe there's one back here. Then all we do is brush these. Just to break it up a little. Okay. I think now we're ready to start putting some water in here. Kim will take titanium white, and to that I'm going to add a small amount of cad yellow, just a little bit, don't need much, tiniest little bit. Now, let's decide where our water line's going to be here. Let's say it's right about there. And we'll just make a basic line going all the way across the canvas. Just something like so. Okay. There it goes, just right on across. And try to keep this fairly straight. Don't let it get too crooked on you, it'll bother you. Your water run right out of the painting. You'll have to tie a bucket on one side to catch it. There we go. And sometimes when you're doing this, step back from the canvas and look. It's very hard to see when you're up close. So just step back and take a look. You'll see it from a whole different angle. And you can see the entire painting much better. It'll help you a great deal when you're at home doing all these fantastic pictures. And I'm just touching the canvas. I have a small amount of paint on the blade and just touching the canvas, allowing the canvas to pull off what it wants. Let the canvas do the work. There we go. Okay. Now, we take a large brush and very gently, we're just going to blend all this together. Just very gently. And if you want it to get a little darker, you just continue to blend. You can finally blend it till it's very, very dark. We don't want to lose all this nice color that we put in there, so I'm going to stop about here. Okay. Now, I'm going to add a tiny bit of magic white to my paint, just to thin it a little bit. And we can begin working on some very basic little wave structures here. And let's go back in here and just barely touch the canvas. Barely touch. Now, on one of the shows earlier, we did a seascape that was all in blue. That's a good exercise before you start this one. It'll give you confidence. This one's a little more complicated than the other one we did, just because there's a little bit more in it. Put a little highlight up here on this wave. There we go. And just let that go right on out. It's your world, so you decide where it's going. Maybe a little more highlight right there. Make that one stand out a little. It's got a little light coming from the moon into it. And we'll just let that disappear right on into the background. And some little things happening all down in here. And just let the fan brush sort of just drift around the canvas and have fun. Just wherever you think light would strike the water. And maybe there's another little happy wave. It's right there. There he is. Okay. Just pull downward. And if you ever make one up here that you don't like, all you have to do is just blend it right into the canvas. It's no biggie. Easy to fix. So one thing is so fantastic about this technique. There are no such things as errors. All we do, we have happy accidents and we use them. And it's so easy to correct in this. Because the canvas is wet, you can move it, change your mind right in the middle of a painting. There we go. Let all these little things just happen. Yeah. I think it's about time we started worrying about our little lighthouse. And we've got the glow in the sky already, so all we need to do is start worrying about the building. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start with Dyke Brown. We're going to go right up here in the center of the glow, the brightest area, touch the canvas, and just pull across, like so. And let's do that from the other side also, so we get nice, firm edges there. So all you have to do is just touch it, give it a little pull. Now, something that might help you a little bit at home, put a little center mark right there. That'll sort of give you a little guide. Then we'll take the small edge of the knife, and we can put a little top on this lighthouse, a little cap. There. And just use a small edge. It really does fantastic things. And that gives us a little cap right up here. And we can smooth it out a little bit. Okay. Now, got to have some light in this lighthouse, so come right underneath there. And we'll just scrape out a little bit of this, like so, and go right into the cad yellow. And we'll just lay a little bit of yellow in here, just to indicate a nice light. The old lighthouse keeper's got it going good tonight. Got his light burning. There we are. Now, I have to make some more almighty decisions here. Let's take and go right about here and just start doing this, still using the small edge of the knife. And just pull this right down. There we are. And just get it sort of even on each side. There. Now, we can go right in here. Let's get the liner brush. I'll put a little bit of paint thinner on there just to thin the paint down. And we can put a few little detail things in here. We'll put some little indications that there's a glass here. There we are. Gives it a little more detail in there. Now, I want a little rail that goes right around here. So we'll just drop it in with a liner brush and put some post on there, however many you want. There we go. So we're just about ready for the bottom of the lighthouse. Back to the Dyke Brown. start right about here and just begin going straight down. Just like so. It's just straight Van Dyke Brown. There. Isn't that something? You can build a lighthouse that fast. And I knew you could. I knew you could. And let's put a little bit of highlight on that. And let's use, oh, how about burnt umber with a little bit of Van Dyke Brown. Keep it quite dark. Don't want it to get too bright. And we touch and just sort of give it a pull like that. Just like so. Now, let's put a little more highlight. Maybe there's a little light striking there. So let's take a tiny little bit of yellow ochre and mix it right in there, just to lighten the color. I've mixed it right in with the same color and just barely touching. Just let that paint just barely grab and come right on around. There we are. Make it look like old stones and rocks. And we can take a little bit of dark color and just really make it look old. There. And that's basically how we make a little lighthouse. Now we need some land for it to stand on. Don't want it to fall off in the water and make a big splash. So we'll just have some land coming right there. Just like so. There we go. Maybe there's a little peninsula that goes out the lighthouse is sitting on. So all we're doing is just laying in some Van Dyke Brown here to start our land. Okay, now use a little bit of the umber just to lay a little highlight out here on these rocks. There we go. Don't want them to get too bright now. Keep them quite dark. This is supposed to be a night scene. Okay, now the lighthouse keeper needs a house to live in. So let's give him a little house. And I'm still using just Van Dyke Brown. And we'll put a little thing right there. Zoop, one stroke. And maybe that's a small one, and here's a bigger house. We'll give him several buildings to play with. There we go. And all of this we can just fill in with good dark color. You're not going to see it. It's very dark. There. Now a little bit of the umber, and we can put a little bit of highlight up here where a little light striking. Don't overdo this. Just a little. Maybe a little bit's coming right down the roof here on the other side. Just a tiny bit. Now, let's take a little bit of white and the same gray color we used in the sky. Make it quite dark, because color shows up so much brighter here than it does on your palette. Just pull down. There's one house, and we'll put a little thing there. Now on this side, ooh, really want it dark over here. Almost nothing. So just work it in and let it get very dark. If it comes out a little too bright, just keep working. It'll mix with the color underneath and go away. And maybe there's some windows out here. I'll just put some little windows in this. There. Maybe he's like me, collected too much junk, and maybe he needs a little shed right here. So we'll just give him one. Put a little front on it, soup, like that. Needs a dark side right here. And we got the little shed. That quick. Now let's take a fan brush, and I want to use yellow ochre. Let's put a little bit of paint thinner with that, just to thin it up a little. Yellow ochre and a little sap green in it to dull it. Load quite a bit of paint onto your brush. There we go. Now, Well, there's some little grassy areas that grow out here. Just touch and bend. Make the brush bend upward to create all these. If it doesn't stick, add a little bit more of something to thin it. A little paint thinner, a little magic white. Just there. Then it'll stick. That's all there is to it. Thin paint will stick to a thick paint. Now we can have all these little grassy areas just running right down the hill here. Darker, 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 darker back here. Let them just disappear. Brighter as they get out from behind the house. Dark, dark, dark. There. Okay, now we can go back and play in some water. Little magic white, little firm white. And we could begin making this water come right up here and hit. Begin splashing. There you go. Got to make these crazy little noises. They help. Put you in the mood. And maybe, there it is. Big old wave right there. And it's coming right down through there like so. It just sort of wanders off. And we can put a little color right here into the wave. Like that. There we go. Maybe here, maybe we're beginning to get a little curl. Just pull that up. It's the simplest, nicest way I've found to make waves. Happens very easy, without a lot of work, a lot of thinking. Just drop it in. And we can put all these little things. Sometimes they just run right up the wave. Just let them go. Darker, darker, darker over here. We don't want too much light over here. And we can take the large brush and very gently just blend these right in. Okay, maybe this wave is already decaying here and breaking. Poosh, just hitting and splashing and carrying on right like that. And we'll just pull him right over, let him fall right up here on the shore. Oh, he's hitting there and splashing. Oh, there's just all kinds of beautiful little things happening. There we go. And maybe we're running right into the shore here. Maybe we can see that. And let's reflect some of this. Sand's wet. We learned that on the other one, so we'll just reflect a little bit of color right down into the sand here. And just pull this back. See, a little bit of reflection really makes it look wet. And it's so easy to do on these black canvases. Just like so. Okay. Now let's come right back in here with some Dyke Brown and figure out where our land's going to be. Maybe it comes down right like so. As I say, this will not be an exact duplicate of what's animated at the beginning of the show, but it'll give you an idea of how it was painted, and you can make your own almighty picture at home. You would be surprised if you knew how long it takes to animate one of these. They spend a great deal of time making that little thing that only lasts a few seconds that we all enjoy at the beginning. And it takes a lot of talent of a lot of fantastic people. Okay, let's just put a little bit of grassy areas right in here. There we go. Just drop them in wherever you think they should be. Okay, I think we're about to have us a lighthouse here. If you really wanted to get technical now, we could go back and put maybe a little chimney right up here on this house. If I didn't put that in, somebody would write and say, you didn't put a chimney in there, he's freezing to death right there on television. Okay, I think we're about ready for a little signature. Clean up my liner brush. A little bit of the thin oil. A little permanent red. Just work it till it's almost like water, very thin. And we can go right in here and put us a nice little signature. It's good to have a short name. Really helps when you're signing paintings. Maybe a little touch more oil. Now next week we're going to be doing a white canvas. So if you're painting along with us, have your canvas on your easel, be ready to go. And we'll do a fantastic painting together. I've got this signed. I think we have a completed painting here. I think I've mentioned to you before that if you have questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line. We'll try very hard to answer any question that we get. Well, almost any question. So, from all of us here, we'd like to wish each and every one of you happy painting. Have a super day. God bless.